boys and girls.
What's it feel like to be back with your supernatural family?
I think it's fantastic. It's look, not to be boring, but everybody always asks, like, why do we do these things? And there's been a long conversation for a long time. Sit down. You in the Constantine costume, sit down. Why does all these Constantine fans keep showing up? I don't know what's going on.
I don't know. It's crazy.
Anyway, so look, it's a wonder. Like, there's a lot of people that would go look at this cynically and go, it costs money to be here, it costs money to come here and do all that stuff, right? And it's like, oh, you know, they only travel for the money. Well, that's partially true. The truth actually is like that we work in a medium of, you know, working with 150 of our friends, and that's it. You know, we don't get to experience the performance with you. We don't get to experience the result of what it is that we do at your house. We don't get to experience it the way you get to experience it. And the way I come from live music and live theater, and I've always had an audience. And an audience is everything to me. It's the organic nature of you guys go ooh, or you boo, or you clap. It changes what I do, whether I'd hang out the microphone, whether I keep walking, whether I walk faster or slower, depends on what the audience is doing, right? You guys, it's an organic relationship between us. And you just don't get that in television. And the reason why I come to conventions, and I think the reason why most of us come to conventions, is to sort of complete that organic circle. Is like to finally share our common knowledge and our common experience of the program or the series of programs that we've done. And we love it. And there's loads of actors that are in other shows that I've been on, big name actors who hadn't done conventions. And they were like, well, what's it like? Is it a bit weird or sad? They used to say, is it sad? How are they all going to be sad?
It's the happiest
I was
place
talking
on
to
earth.
a huge actor, and he was kind of, because he used to get really bad information about what it was like going to a convention, right? And I said, the outpouring of love will absolutely destroy you emotionally. I said, you'll sign thousands of autographs and take thousands of pictures and see all these smiling faces and be asked questions that you were never expected to be asked or answered. And you will have an experience. And when you get to the end of that experience, you'll sleep for 3 days. Because it's not what we're used to. We're making TV. If we had an audience like this, it would be fantastic. But we really are making this stuff on our own and then giving it to you and hoping you like it. You know? So that's the thing. So being back with the Supernatural family, I always hated the word fandom. Fan is short for fanatic. Fanatic is a terrible word. George Santayana said once, a fanatic is one who redoubles his effort when he's lost sight of his aim. And that's how Chuck Jones created the coyote, Wile E. Coyote. As a fanatic is one who redoubles his effort when he's lost sight of his aim. And we're not fanatics. We are, you know, amateurs. We are lovers of. You know what I mean? We wear our hearts on our sleeves, even if they are ridiculous costumes with cheap Macintosh coats. We wear our hearts on our sleeves, the stuff that we used to be castigated for. Now people can dye their hair and do all that stuff without having rocks thrown at them, I guess. And so I love the fact that the fandom, for want of a much better word, with Supernatural became the family because people treated each other like family, and that's what we saw. And we were talking about this today. If somebody falls over, somebody has an anxiety attack in a convention, you don't just walk around them. Oh, by the way, I just realized what the carpet is. I should have brought my big wheel. It's the shining carpet. I love it. But yeah, so just to tighten that up, the whole thing is that, you know, we help each other, we support each other. We know we don't care about our differences. Nobody gives a damn about your sexuality, your identifying moniker. It doesn't matter to anybody here. That's the most amazing thing that I see. You know, the nastiest fight that ever happened at Comic-Con in San Diego was somebody stabbed another guy with a pencil in his hand over a girl.
Yeah.
I was like, it wasn't over a girl. It was over somebody's interpretation of Klingon or something. It was something weird. But You know what I'm
100%.
saying? It's like, it's that wonderful thing of whimsy and love is everything. Love is what this is all about. We love coming to see you. We love you. It's the truth. It's not. I mean, I've done this for a long time, and for a long time, that part has never worn out. That part never wears out. The stuff that I love, you guys, I've been lucky enough to know that you guys tend to love it. So I have such fun with the shows that I do, being so excited that you guys will get around to watching Doom Patrol eventually and understand what that's about. Because it's so good, and I'm like, they're gonna love this. They're gonna love this. It's done so well. It's like it's done with passion and done with heart and done with caring, and that's the same way as I feel about Supernatural and Battlestar and Firefly and all the things I've been lucky to be part of. I mean, just amazing stuff.
Amazing.
You've been in some great shows, and you know what it is. It's all about love. It is all about love. It's not cynical. It's not the money. I mean, we have to make a living and we have to travel and we have to do those things, but it's not a cynical aspect. It's the fact that we love our audience and we get to see them. That being said, I'm done talking. Off you go.
It is all about love. And for the King of Hell, you were so lovable too. I mean, you were amazing. When you first created the character of Crowley, what was your first sort of material to work with, and your first impression of how you were gonna, really how you were gonna create this lovable, evil person?
I don't know how I don't know if that's actually the path, but I'm glad that was the way that it ended up.
Absolutely.
It looks really simple, and it isn't. What it was is the wonderful writer Ben Edlund. Ben Edlund is one of my heroes for many, many reasons. Primarily because he created The Tick. I just watched The Tick versus Dinosaur Neil the other day. This is just genius. This is Ben at school. This is what Ben did when he was at school. He created The Tick. I mean, he's absolutely magical. He also did, he wrote French Mistake, Supernatural. He's that guy. He's that guy who thinks that way. And he created Crowley. He created Crowley as we know Crowley. And I was good friends with Kim Manners, who was the original showrunner of Supernatural, and the boys loved him very much. And I knew the guy really well. I'd see him in Canada all the time. He directed me in other stuff. He worked on X-Files. He worked on Mantis. He worked on 21 Jump Street back in the day. And we talked for hours. We hung out in the Gerard in the bar at what was it called back then? It was called the Meridian originally. The Meridian, the hotel. And he always said, "Oh, the boy, you got to meet the boys. The boys are great. You got to meet these kids. They're amazing. They're just so good. You got to come." And it slipped through. It never happened. And then unfortunately, Kim passed. And I was talking to his brother, of all things, and he was like, "No, he's not doing well." And he passed. And then Crowley came up, and I just thought it was this wonderful cosmic joke. That I'd never done Supernatural. I'd never even seen a Supernatural audition or an offer. And I was like, this came up. And I actually went and auditioned for it because I thought it was funny. And 8 years later... and it was fantastic. It's an amazing part of my life. To watch all those boys and girls on that show, before they were married, before... they had kids, or being early into their marriage, or whatever it was. But the total change. Everybody's having children, and I was the old man. Well, Jim would argue with that, but it was just an interesting place to be. You know what I'm saying? It was just an incredible place to be. Nearly a decade of my life spent there. So
yeah,
it's kind of cool.
Yeah,
I do love it.
I know you guys are anxious to ask smart questions, so you can line up at the mic. Just be cognizant of
What's
keeping
it like working with
space
Jensen and Jared?
between.
What's it like working with Misha?
No, I want to ask you, what's it like, your, debut episode? What was it like, the scene you filmed under the bridge?
Kissing L. Harvey Gold.
Tell us that story, will you, Mark?
Okay. So L. Harvey Gold is a Canadian actor and was the only actor they could find apparently in Canada that would kiss a man on screen. I was like, isn't this like a really sort of liberal country. Well, what I found out was day players in Canada get paid a crap load of money. Like day players in America, because of residuals and stuff, which doesn't really work, you get like $750 or $1,000 to work. In Canada, because you don't get residuals, you get like $3,500 for a day's work. So these guys could pick and choose what they wanted to do, and apparently nobody wanted to kiss me. They didn't know it was me, so that's okay. But here's the thing, and they finally find this guy, and this guy is enormously tall. He's 6'2" or 6'3", and he's a big boy. And I was chatting away to him. We're getting around to this shot, and it was my first real sort of, the opening of this shot was my first thing, and it's like, And the more I talked to him, the more sort of jovial he got and couldn't act. He got like fun, and then it all became too big and funny. And Phil, who was directing, was like, just leave him alone, because I don't think he can do it. And I said, well, if I leave him alone, he starts getting nervous. So I'd leave him alone, he'd start getting nervous and sweaty, and like then started thinking, I got to kiss this guy on camera, which I was like, yeah, whatever. So, oh God, we shot that opening scene, I think, for 6 hours. Because with all due love and respect to L. Harvey Gold, he apparently couldn't hit a mark, which was critical because it's a reveal. It's a complicated shot where he has to turn and I appear at the right time. It's complicated, and it just got difficult. And then when we got to the kiss, I grabbed the back of his head, and he started fighting me.
Pulling away.
He's a big boy. He wasn't, I was like, oh my God. Kissing him was like kissing a piece of paper. It wasn't that exciting, seriously. Kissing Jim Beaver was so much nicer. Jim is a way better kisser, and Jim has much softer lips. If it wasn't COVID, I'd urge you to try it out. But it wasn't kissing him. It was my hand on the back of his clammy head. I say, eh. So now I understand dating. For you lot out there who date tall men with clammy heads. Yeah, personal hygiene is a lot. It really is a lot. I get it. But we got it. I mean, the crew was laughing from that minute forwards, and it's the same crew I worked with for 8 years, and they were just like,
I love that image in my head, so thank you for that, Mark. Yeah. Hi, we'll start over here with you. How are you?
I'm fine, thank you. I saw you for the first time in the Fire episode of The X-Files, and I've watched you since then, and you've basically
What do you mean you've watched me? It's not like...
I've watched you over the years.
From afar, I hope,
basically
right?
Become the king of genre television. Was that just a happy accident, or when you came to the States to start acting here, did you have a different kind of plan for yourself? Did you see something different for yourself?
I'm a musician.
Or did you just end up where you needed to be?
No, I'm a musician. I never expected to be an actor. And I intersected with it when I was younger, and it didn't work out for me the way I wanted it to. And so I gave up doing that. So I was making records and touring and doing that stuff. And then actually I got sober. I got sober on the second day of 1990. And... you should be applauding everybody I've had to interact with since that date. But I got sober back then, and I couldn't play. I really wasn't doing well playing. I didn't like the idea of playing. I just wasn't physically comfortable or any other way. And I took a job, and then I ended up doing this play, and this play won all these awards. It was a two-hander. And then I went back to England and Ireland, and I ended up doing In the Name of the Father, which is an extraordinary film. And then I came back to the States to come home when I finished. Right after I finished In the Name of the Father and reshoots, I did X-Files, which was just like the most extraordinary experience. And I thought, actually, no, I was doing the play, and remember Barbara Clayman? Mm-hmm. Do you remember Barbara Clayman? She's a casting director. She came to the play I was doing and was like, "You're very good, darling. Do you have a SAG card?" I'm like, "No, do I need one?" And she's like, "Oh, for God's sake." So she put me on silk stockings.
Oh.
So she Taft-Hartley'd me into the union with silk stockings. And another night, it was sold out for like months, this play. And there was a guy there, and he goes, "I'm with this agency. Do you have an agent?" I'm like, "No, do I need one?" So I signed to a big agency, and then it was just, that was the start of what happened, and I never really wanted to do it. It just sort of fell in, and then X-Files became my first real sojourn into TV, and it was an extraordinary episode to do. They weren't even a series at that point. And Peter, I was doing this with Peter Roth, and he was like, yeah, he goes, I remember sending a telegram saying, don't worry about the numbers, it will be a series, which I thought was incredible. It was like the 11th episode. But I had so much fun doing that, and the director was like, wow, you really love doing what you're doing. And I'm like, well, doesn't everybody? He's like, nope. And I think maybe my career, whatever it may be, is punctuated by people going, I think Mark could be really interested in doing this. Let's see what he does with it. And that's why I've been looked after by great writers and great showrunners. And those are my friends, you know. Ron Moore wrote Battlestar for me, you know, and those things are amazing. Joss put me in Firefly because it was the role he wrote for himself that he wasn't allowed to do because he's probably a crap actor. You know, I'm not joking. I mean, it's that simple. So, right, you do it.
Yeah.
It's one of those things. It's like, oh, look, there's something with 20 pages of dialogue in it. It's got to be shot in 3 days. Give it to Mark. He talks. And these have all turned into like these wonderful genre pieces like Battlestar and Firefly. And who was an offer? It's like, basically, do you want to play James Bond in 1969? I'm like, God, yeah. And it took a massive amount of effort to actually make it happen. It almost fell apart for me. I was distraught, but I had so much fun doing it. And that's been the characterization of all those things that I've done. I love doing them. Mm-hmm. Supernatural was getting up every day, getting in my car, driving to a set, saying hello to 100-odd people that I know, eating breakfast with drivers and painters and everybody else and doing my job, and they're like praying that I'll bring them home on a Friday night. If I can get this page of garbage out of my mouth fast enough on a Friday and turn it into some sort of magic, we might actually get to go home and see our families. So no pressure, Mark, but hurry up.
But go on.
Yeah, but that's the thing, is it was, you know, that feeling, and, you know, us flying together and us always going and doing conventions together, and us, you know, with Supernatural traveling, you know, my wedding, for God's sake. So like 165 of my cast and crew at my wedding. It was amazing. It was just extraordinary. But we worked hard, we played hard.
I love that.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Great starting question. Hi.
Hello.
We've got time for one more.
So, out of your entire time on Supernatural,
End of season 8.
My name's Wayne. I'm sorry.
End of season 8.
End of season 8.
Yep.
From your entire time, what was the most memorable moment that you remember being on a set with everybody?
End of season 8.
End of season 8.
There you go. The end of season 8. It was a really, really, really good season with a really, really good ending that ended up in this wonderful set of stuff that starts, I think, with me and Elena and ends up with the angels falling. And it's just, that whole thing was just an extraordinary experience. I was talking to Jared about it the other day. He goes, it's certainly the best stuff we ever did together. You know, and it was so much fun to do.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Hi.
Hi. If you were cremated and your ashes were turned into a vinyl record, what song would that record play?
What song would that record play?
Well, it'd have to be Ashes to Ashes at that point, wouldn't it? As long as it's not Mr. Crowley, I'm fine. It wouldn't, and I wouldn't, and that's tacky. I expect at least a 30 or 40-foot monument to my greatness when I pass.
Thank you. Hi.
Hi. My question is, in Supernatural, what was your hardest scene?
End of season 8.
Okay, thank you. Hi.
Hi. So my question
Season
is
5, episode 22.
This is a good one.
not quite the answer I was looking for. But if the characters from Supernatural were real, which one would you want to meet the most?
You know, I did the show for 8 years, right?
Yes, but
There's a certain level of reality that is implied doing the show. You never cross the streams. You just don't. That's what fan fiction's for. That's
not
for
wrong.
you guys to write.
Who would you like to meet of the characters on the show?
well, putting me on the spot there. I would probably.
Oh,
like-
really? You get up here and ask me a question?
Well, I wasn't expecting to answer the question.
Oh, you weren't, were you?
No.
Well done.
Well, surprise!
I would
God's
probably
sakes.
like to meet
It's a Misha
Gabriel.
Who?
Gabriel.
Who?
Gabriel?
Gabriel.
Who? Spate? God, have you heard his school French? His school French is really good too. I love Spate. Spate makes me laugh. Good director too.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi.
I'm prepared. What do you want? Where'd you get that costume?
Hi there. So my question's actually not about Supernatural, but your time on Doctor Who. What was it like working with all of them?
What was it like? Would you like minute by minute?
It's fully up to you.
Well, yeah, it'd be a while. It was wonderful. Can you see how much fun I was having? I get to straighten people's bow ties for the rest of my life. Especially if they're dressed up as the 11th Doctor. I mean, it was an incredible story. I read Stephen's, these 2 pieces, and I was like going, you can't make this. It doesn't, how the hell is this going to make sense? And it made sense. It was rather wonderful. And I just, the love that they all have for each other, to watch Matt and Arthur and Alex and Karen, just loving everything. They were singing to each other sort of chorally between takes. It was just like, made them comfortable. It was the strangest thing. I think my favorite part was like, they called me up and said, okay, so when are you coming over to do the prosthetics? I'm like, for what? They said, well, the old you. I went, oh, why don't you just ask my dad? And they went, would he do it? And I said, yeah, of course he'd do it. I had no idea whether he'd do it or not. But
Right.
I said,
Just throwing him out
of course
there.
he'd do it. He lives up the road from me. So I was like, well, he lived up the road from me. And he was like, so I said, yeah, of course he'd do it. No problem. Okay, well, we'll get in touch. I went, okay. Called my dad. I said, oh, you're doing Doctor Who? He goes, it's not all bloody cardboard and bits of string anymore, is it? I'm like, no, it's great. So I sent him Matt Smith's stuff from Fish Fingers and Custard forwards. And he's like, this boy's amazing. He goes, I said, so you're going to play the older me? All right, I'll do that. Then he had to call up the union because it was a non-union shoot in Utah. So he had to call up the union. Goes, I'm Morgan here. I'm supposed to do this Doctor Who thingy. And what's it? And I think it's non-union. And he went, yes, Morgan. So you're asking us for a waiver? And he goes, oh, I don't know. I just want to do it. Yes, Morgan, it's the greatest show ever. You have always wanted to do it, and this will be your only opportunity to do it before you pass, and you'd like a waiver. Well, I wouldn't go that far. It's like
I like that he called it a Doctor Who thingy.
a Doctor Who thingy, yes. And he's like, well, fine. So yes, Morgan, you can have a waiver. You can go do Doctor Who. So he came and did Doctor Who with me. He loved it. He absolutely loved playing with them. They were so much fun. They loved him. They thought he was brilliant. Old
That's
man on a
amazing.
beach, Lake Powell.
Yeah.
Night Lake Powell.
Thank you.
Go away.
Yeah.
Rethink your clothing choices. Spend a little money and get a proper Crowley costume. Spend a little money, you lot. God.
Hi.
Hi. What's been your favorite part of doing Doom Patrol?
First of all, primarily, took me a while to work it out, Jeremy Carver. I realized that the most fun I had on Supernatural was when Jeremy was there. And then I had a little less fun when he wasn't there. And then when he called me and said, do you want to play basically Constantine in Doom Patrol, I was like, which Doom Patrol are you doing? You doing the 60s one, or are you doing Grant Morrison's one? Which one are you doing? And he's like, yeah, kind of like Grant's, but a little different. And I read it, and it's absolutely brilliant. And the people are just wonderful. They are just so good. And you'll see some rather amazing Supernatural alumnus alumni on the on different parts of Doom Patrol. If you haven't seen it, it is so worth watching. It's all about mental health. It is very disturbing and very funny. It's not Supergirl. It's not The Boys. It is something very... An entire town disappears up the arse of a donkey in the second episode. That's a starter for you. We got puppets.
Yeah.
Nazi puppets. Yeah. Got some really good stuff.
And
Yeah.
season 2 comes out in like 5 weeks.
Season three.
Comes out on the 23rd.
Of September.
Yep.
Wow, that's awesome.
And season 3 has Madame Rouge, which is Michelle Gomez's character. She is extraordinary. So you've got the Sisterhood of Evil, the Sisterhood of Dada. You've got all this sort of crazy stuff going on that goes in and out of where the comic book was. I had a little less to do in season 3, but it doesn't matter because it can't kill me. I'm immortal. I'm Constantine, but called Willoughby Kipling because they weren't allowed to put Constantine in the Vertigo comics in the 80s. So it is just fabulous. I love it. It makes me laugh. It makes me cry. It is written by some of the best and smartest writers I've ever known. It's massively inclusive of everybody and everything, and it's just a gorgeous thing to watch. Lots of cursing too. Pretty much Brendan Fraser going, "What the fuck?" for like 3 seasons. It's great. Love it.
Thank you for that.
Watch it. If you haven't seen it, it's on HBO Max, and you'll suddenly go, "Oh my God, why didn't I see this?" You didn't see it because it was on DC for the first year. So,
Yes. Thank you.
thank you.
Hi.
Hi. My question is for Mark.
I hope so, because there's nobody else.
Do you have any fond memories or just
No.
Do you have any memories of Jensen
Do you have
and
any,
Jared?
I've gone down to, do you have any memories? What, am I old? Do you have any fond memories? No.
Just any
Do you have
memories.
any memory? Can you remember anything about them? Do you remember their names? Do you remember the first letters of their names? Do you have any fond memories of what?
Of Jensen and Jared.
That's it?
Yeah.
That's the question? I have hundreds of fond memories of those two idiots. I have so many, it's almost a decade of my life. Of course I do. It was magical. Listen, we worked hard, very, very hard. And we played really, really hard. And that was the fun thing. And it was always a bad idea to let the 4 of us get together and wait to do something. Because we would just mess about and investigate things and do things we're not supposed to be doing. I loved it. I mean, it was just so much fun. We have had, you know what my favorite thing was? I mean, I always slag Misha. I've always slagged Misha for years. But the truth is, Misha and I used to have to go do the press for the year on the Saturday at Comic-Con, right? And the boys didn't bother to show up till the Sunday. Bloody typical. So for about eight years, Misha and I, that's where you see all those amazing photographs of he and I. Like you see the piggyback photo and all those like ridiculous, because we were bored out of our minds. We'd be given the edict of to what we could or couldn't say about the season, and we had to do hundreds of interviews together. And it was just amazing, and we just get like, I loved every minute of it. It was, you know, one time by accident they gave us the question cards for the Vampire Diaries that year. One day that will surface. Absolutely unreleasable. If you ever want to know how much fun it was for me, watch the Nerd HQ panels, which were something else. We'd do all the work we'd done, we'd do Hall H, Misha would feed them, it's like fed the entire line at Comic-Con many, many times. Amazing guy. I mean, builds hospitals and schools, and he's a goody-goody, and he annoys the hell out of me. But yeah, the Nerd HQ panels, if you haven't seen them, pull them up, and you will actually see what we're like when we've finished work.
Thank you for that. Hi.
Hi. So Crowley and Castiel had a very love-hate relationship throughout the whole show. So my question is, if you and...
Where was the hate? I don't see any hate. I think making fun of him is not hating him.
If you and Misha had the opportunity to have your own show of...
We did. It was called Supernatural. It's the only reason I watched it. Two people. I love you, bro. Blood's thicker than motor oil. Yeah, it was annoying. I like the bits with me and him. Oh, I like Steve. Steve was my favorite character on the show. A lot smarter than Castiel.
Are you thinking like a spin-off show
Yeah.
with the two of them?
Agent Z and Beyonce.
If you had the opportunity to have your own spin-off show, what would it be about?
Agent Z and Beyonce. I wouldn't. We've done what we've done. It is what it is. It's wonderful. My favorite moment with Misha, the honey. The honey bag, that was funny. Nobody knows about that. It's a complicated story. That was around with Meg. That was that scene with Meg and the honey and the bees and that's that. And then just like shoving a bag of honey in each other's face. No, my favorite one is when we're doing the Z and Beyonce stuff and we go to the morgue and we have that CSI Miami moment where we're standing over the body. And as they go past, I'm like, take the shades off. And it's just the look on Jensen's face, which is real, of like, as he sees the two of us standing over a body, and you just see him going, I thought it was wonderful. Still my favorite, you know what my favorite part of the whole series was? What? I didn't hear it. What'd you say?
The end of season 8?
End of season 8, yes. No, my actual favorite mini moment of the whole thing was, that was very funny, well done, you're awake, I'm not, was, where's your moose? Because Dean's response to that is, oh, he just went out to do it. It was instantaneous, and that ended all the hunt for a really good nickname. Instantaneously. We went from Gigantor, mop-headed lumberjacks, all this stuff, and, you know, flannel-clad nightmares or whatever it was. Denim-clad nightmares and flannel whatever. But all of those insults weren't funny. You know, giraffe. Wasn't funny. Moose, perfect.
Very funny.
And it stuck.
It's
And then my other favorite bit was when we were doing had the date with Sheriff Mills. You remember the date with Sheriff Mills? And she, of course, the audience hates me through this entire scene because she doesn't know who I am. And the audience is like, it's Crowley, he's going to kill you. So I'm having a blind date with Kim. And she's being like sweet, and my hands on her hand, and was like, ew! He's evil, back away! And there's this moment where the phone rings, and when you're shooting a TV show, you don't hear the phone ring on set. Somebody actually goes, ring, ring, in the background, and you pick it up. And I thought it was being really clever, so I picked it up and I went, this is the king. And then I have this conversation with Dean, right? And by the time it went to post-production, they'd inserted a shot of the hand and the phone and the stuff. And so when the ring came on, what was the ringtone? I like big butts and I cannot lie. And so I'm not paying attention to I like big butts and I cannot lie. I'm paying attention to ring, ring. And I'm like this. So it says, I like big butts and I cannot lie. So I look at the phone, right? And they cut in a shot of what's on the phone. And on the phone is written, not moose.
That's funny.
I think it's genius.
Love it.
I love it.
Love it.
That's my
Thank
idea.
you. Thank you so much.
you.
Hi.
Hi. I was wondering if you read.
Stop wondering and stand still.
I can't. My anxiety is too high.
You got anxiety? Cool. I could really mess you up right now by running down there and getting a hard time. I won't.
Do you read fan fiction of your own characters?
God, no. Why would I do that?
Do you write fan fiction?
We're not answering that one. Every day.
Well,
I'm
there
writing.
you go. Thank you. Hi.
Hi, big fan, and I'm sure you probably get asked this all the time, but the kiss between you and Jim Beaver, rumors circulating around the internet that was done on your phone, taken on your phone, and that you still have that phone to this day.
Photos.
So are you asking if that's true?
Yeah.
Favorites.
I guess I'm getting my answer.
And what makes you think right now is going to be the moment that
Me and
it's all
Alice
cleared
Cooper.
up?
Oh, nice picture of my wife. You've seen my wife, you get that.
She's hot.
She's very hot.
Oh, yeah.
Is there a camera on me? Yeah, okay.
Yep.
So, now, what's even better than that, apart from the look of horror on his face, is this is me puckering up just before. I know what's happening. He's terrified.
It also looks like he's pulling away a little bit.
And there's the third one. Now, what you don't know is that the person directing it managed to make that go on for about 5 minutes. They rolled cameras. They did all sorts of stuff. Well, they're supposed to be taking this quick snap on an iPhone. And it was like, hold on, no, hold on, what? Just hold on a second. No, hold on, just moving a light. But it went on forever. Of course I have it on my phone.
Love that. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi.
Hi. I just wanted to say my mom is here and she's been a fan since X-Files, but her anxiety isn't letting her talk to you. I was just wondering, since her birthday's next week, would you say happy birthday to her?
What's her name?
Jennifer.
Happy birthday, Jennifer.
Thank you.
Thank you. Happy birthday,
Hey,
Jennifer.
Let's do it right, guys. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday. Pick a key. Happy birthday, dear Jennifer. Happy birthday to you. Yay.
Happy birthday. Hi.
Hey, I have a very important question.
No, you don't.
What?
It's out there on the left. Just ask them. Around the
Apple
corner.
juice or orange juice?
For what?
Just like, what do you like better?
To do what with?
To drink.
Oh, neither. They're both crap.
Yeah, I think
Orange
so.
juice is made from reconstituted pulped garbage. Apple juice is probably even worse.
Yeah.
It's I've got kids, apple juice and orange juice, like, eh. Now, I want to get to some interesting juices. What do I like best? I go to Hugo's, Hugo's,
Yes.
right? So, apple, pear, celery juice
Ooh.
mixed with ginger.
Celery sweet.
Celery sweet is really good, yeah.
Yeah.
I like celery seltzer too, which is really weird.
There you go.
Unimportant question.
A
but that's okay.
hybrid. A hybrid. Hi.
Hey there. Alrighty. So, echo.
We'll be the judge of that.
Yes. Boy, you seem to have a lot of science fiction in your retinue here.
No.
No, just a little bit. And your father seemed to have a little bit of it too. We're big fans of his work on B5 and Star Trek, and I was just kind of wondering, was science fiction something that was prevalent in your family?
It's where the stories are.
It's where the stories are.
It's where the stories are. I mean, ER's fun, but there's only so many people you can talk about their medical problems. It's much more fun talking about them in space.
All right, thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you. We have time for 2 more questions. So come over here.
No
Hi.
pressure, but it better be good.
Hi. What was your least favorite part about filming Supernatural?
The weather.
Hi.
What?
Is not supernatural related. I'm wondering if you heard from Dean Devlin or Christian Kane about coming back for the reboot.
No, they didn't invite me.
I love Sterling, so.
Oh, they didn't invite me back. That's an Amazon thing, but they didn't invite me back for Leverage season.
Thank
Remake
you.
2. Thank you, though. I appreciate it.
Yes, thank you. Okay, go ahead.
I was just wondering, out of all your lines in Supernatural, how much of them were from the writers and how much were from you? Like you just
Most of
ad-libbing?
them were from the writers, and they all used to take turns thinking how brilliant they were, writing me stuff that's impossible to say, like, no one in the history of torture has been tortured with torture like the torture you'll be tortured with. Here's a good sort of wrap up to this. At the last Creation Con I did in San Francisco, yeah, what? DC? Sorry, you're right, I'm wrong, DC. Felt like San Francisco. Was the one I did in DC with the paddles? Yeah, so certain people handed out paddles with my dialogue on them. And I was wandering around doing my Morton Downey Jr. impression, harassing babies and doing what I usually do on the floor. I just can't be bothered today. I did it on the way in, it was more fun. Sometimes I seat people, it's actually quite fun too. But they held up little paddles, and on these little paddles were lines that I had had over 8 seasons of me talking. And what was funny is I remembered all of them. That was interesting, so my memory's not shot. But I was starting to recall the context of each one of those lines. And it was so much fun to see. And it was just, you know, there's people with my stuff tattooed on their bodies, and there's things that ring true for people that have meaning, and the analog of that is what they like and what they enjoy, and those have always been the themes of Supernatural, and of Who, and of Battlestar, and of Firefly, and of all those shows that I've loved doing, is that, you know, A, love conquers all, always has, in everything, and B, it's worth fighting for. You know, that's what it's about. Love is worth fighting for. It really is. Everything else is just garbage. Hate, you know, pettiness, fear. It means nothing. It means nothing. Love solves everything. And I see so much of that with you guys. I really do. I see you bringing, you know, people bringing their kids to conventions. I see people I've seen many times before at other conventions. I see people dressing up with their hearts on their sleeves. It's just a courageous thing to do. But I see really positive things coming out of it. I see Gishwares. I see the things you do that we like, that you get behind us and make it 1,000 times bigger. And that's the greatest experience of my life. This is a little show. I've been on bigger shows, but I don't think I've ever been on a show that's had more impact. I don't think I've ever been on a show that I've seen so much kindness and so much sharing between people, and I'm proud to be part of that, and I'm proud to know each and every one of you, and I love you all very, very much.
And we love you too,
Thank
Mark.
you.
Do you guys love Mark? All right. I can't believe it, but the hour is over. Thank you so much, Mark, but we're going to do it again tomorrow.
Come tomorrow if you want part 2. You can hear the rest of the Which One Did I Like Better, Jensen, Jared, or Misha?
Exactly. One
Thank
more
you,
big
Claire.
round of applause for Mark Sheppard.
Thank you, guys. Have fun. I'll see you in a bit. And if you're around tomorrow, we'll do more of this. Thank you, Claire.